had the same problems with COVID. You're the third worst. You really think of all the other district judges in the Seventh Circuit, you're the one that ought to be promoted based on this record?
Senator, this is something that I've discussed with my fellow judges. Many of us new judges from...
Not you said you'd never looked at these statistics.
I haven't, these particular statistics, I am not familiar.
A federal judge hoping for a promotion walked into a Senate hearing expecting tough questions. What she got was a relentless grilling from Senator John Kennedy. Kennedy accused the judge of being one of the slowest judges in the entire country, pointing to dozens of unresolved cases and questioning whether she deserved a higher position at all. Then the hearing took another dramatic turn when Kennedy confronted her over a past legal brief supporting an assault weapons ban. As the judge struggled to explain her position, the exchange became increasingly tense, leaving many wondering whether her nomination could survive the scrutiny.
Judge, welcome.
Thank you.
You are probably the least productive member of your district court, isn't that right?
Well, I have not considered myself in those terms, Senator.
Well, let me explain what I mean. You have 125 motions pending that you've declined to decide. Let me finish. That's more than any other district judge in the entire Seventh Circuit. In fact, you rank 7th highest nationally, do you not?
I am not familiar with those statistics, Senator Kennedy.
You haven't looked?
I did look in preparation for this hearing, but I didn't compare myself to others.
You haven't seen that you ranked the 7th, the worst in the country in terms of making decisions?
You are the first to tell me this. And I think for me, I stress the quality of my decision making. And as I explained, I came on, I was the first district judge to come on during this administration.
Yeah, but so were all the others. I mean, there have been 68 district judges confirmed in the 117th Congress. In terms of motions pending for more than 6 months, you rank number 3. You all came on at the same time. You all had the same problems with COVID. You're the third worst. You really think of all the other district judges in the Seventh Circuit, you're the one that ought to be promoted based on this record?
Senator, this is something that I've discussed with my fellow judges. Many of us new judges from...
Not you said you'd never looked at these statistics.
I haven't, these particular statistics I am not familiar with. But in terms of new judges, both from the current administration and the former administration, we are quite a collegial bunch. And oftentimes talk about the pressures of a new judge and the way reassignments work in our district, which is that you get, for example, 300 cases.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. I'm familiar with the procedure in federal court. Here's what I'm trying to understand. Why is your record so bad?
Well, I don't view it that way, Senator. When I look at the quality of my decision-making, the feedback that I get from parties,
of course parties are not going to criticize you. They want you to rule in their favor.
I understand, Senator Kennedy.
I mean, that's just the way it works. Help me understand why you have such an abysmal record in moving cases. I mean, it costs a lot of money to litigate, and people are paying lawyers, and time is money. And of all the district court judges in the Seventh Circuit, you're the worst in terms of moving cases. Why do you think you deserve to be promoted over all of those others?
So, Senator, again, I'm not familiar with the statistics, but I stand by my record and that I give parties what they need. I think, I am regularly in my courtroom. I am regularly issuing decisions. I just came on at a very difficult time where there was a backlog in the courts.
So did everybody else. Let me ask you, when you were a partner in your law firm, you volunteered to write a brief on behalf of the Brady Center. You wrote the brief, and this is what you said. You volunteered for this. You weren't being paid. Is that right?
This was a pro bono case that one of my partners brought in, yes.
You said, quote, assault weapons may be banned because they're extraordinarily dangerous and are not appropriate for legitimate self-defense purposes, close quote. Tell me what you meant by assault weapons.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. Just to clarify there, I was local counsel. Our Supreme...
Yeah, but you wrote the brief. Tell me what you meant by assault weapons.
Senator Kennedy, actually, I did not write the brief. The brief was written by...
You signed the brief, though, didn't you?
Correct. I signed the
When you
brief.
sign a brief, you're testifying to the court that everything in it is true, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
they're your words in terms of the court, right?
Well, you're correct, Senator Kennedy.
Okay.
I would never
Tell
sign...
me what you meant by assault weapons.
So I am not a gun expert, and at the time, that brief, I think, was about 10
You
years...
were giving the court advice about, say, ban assault weapons. What is... You told the court you were an expert. Just tell me what you wanted to ban.
Senator, sitting here today, as I said, I did not write that brief. I was local counsel.
Sign the brief.
I understand. At the time...
Tell me what you wanted to ban. That's all I want to know, Judge.
I don't remember the exact definition of assault weapons in the ordinance that was at issue.
So you submitted a brief to an appellate brief, you signed it, and you don't know what, and you said abolish assault weapons, and you don't know what you wanted them to abolish?
Senator, at the time that I signed the brief, I read the brief because our Supreme Court required an Illinois bar member to sign the brief. I was not responsible for researching the content.
You were responsible for the brief.
Absolutely, absolutely. And sitting here today, I do not remember the characteristics of that were cited in the ordinance for the assault weapons ban. It's not an area of practice that I have specialized in. I'm sure 10 years ago I could have answered your question.
And
but
Judge,
sitting here today,
you think
Senator,
you deserve
your
to be
time has
promoted with this record?
Senator, I stand by my record. I stand by my record.
Senator Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to you and your...
A federal judge seeking a promotion found herself under intense scrutiny during a Senate hearing when Senator John Kennedy launched into a series of tough questions about her record. The senator began by focusing on the judge's productivity. Kennedy pointed to statistics showing that she had more unresolved motions than any other district judge in her circuit and ranked among the highest in the nation for delayed decisions. The judge responded by saying she was unfamiliar with those specific rankings and preferred to focus on the quality of her decisions rather than comparisons with other judges. That answer did not satisfy Kennedy. The senator argued that every judge faced challenges, including court backlogs and disruptions caused by the pandemic. Yet despite those obstacles affecting everyone, Kennedy claimed her record remained among the worst when it came to moving cases forward. As the exchange continued, the judge defended her work. She said she regularly issued decisions, remained active in the courtroom, and inherited a difficult caseload during a challenging period for the federal court system. Kennedy remained unconvinced. He argued that delayed rulings have real-world consequences because litigation is expensive and parties often spend significant amounts of money waiting for courts to act. The senator repeatedly asked why someone with that record should be promoted ahead of other judges. The judge stood by her performance and insisted that she provided litigants with careful and thoughtful decisions. Then the hearing shifted to an entirely different issue. Kennedy brought up a legal brief connected to a case involving the Brady Center, a gun control advocacy organization. The senator noted that the judge had signed a brief supporting restrictions on so-called assault weapons. The judge explained that the case had been handled years earlier and that she had served primarily as local counsel, She emphasized that she was not the primary author of the brief. Kennedy pressed further. He quoted language from the filing that argued assault weapons could be banned because they were extraordinarily dangerous and not appropriate for legitimate self-defense purposes. The senator then asked a simple question. What exactly did the judge mean by assault weapons? The judge responded that she was not a firearms expert and could not remember the precise definition that had been used in the ordinance discussed in the case. Kennedy immediately seized on that answer. He pointed out that her signature appeared on the legal filing and argued signing the brief meant accepting responsibility for its contents. The judge acknowledged that she had signed the document, but reiterated that many years had passed and that firearms law was not an area in which she specialized. Kennedy continued pressing the issue,